Hello and welcome back to Momentum Playbook, the podcast where we sit down with the most innovative leaders in MarTech to uncover how they built momentum in their careers, their companies, and their markets. I'm your host, Reggie Riley, and today I'm very excited to have Mariah Gates, the CEO of Accelerated Automation, a company that's helping insurance agencies streamline their operations, eliminate manual busy work, and scale through smart workflow automation. Mariah is known for transforming chaotic sales processes into clean, automated systems using tools like Agency Zoom, Zapier, and modern CRM integrations, and also a wide variety of InsurTech. Mariah, welcome to Momentum Playbook. Can you tell us a little bit about you and Accelerated Automation?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me here. I'm excited to be here. A little bit about me. I am a mother, a wife, and I've been a business owner for 11 years. I came from the banking industry prior to that, and I used to, in our icebreakers, say I was a commercial banker, and I used to say in the commercial classes that I would never own a business, and the business owners were crazy. And here I am, 11 years later, one of those crazy business owners. And my company, we is a company that was born out of demand from our clients who were asking for help. And I decided to take, the leap and try to help them. And now 6 years later, we've helped almost 1,000 insurance agencies nationwide, have 15 team members, and we really specialize in CRM implementation as well as automation, making sure your systems work seamlessly together in this world of fragmented and one-to-one solutions.
Fantastic. Very inspirational too, by the way. It's interesting how you jumped over there even though you thought, they were crazy, but that's great.
Just joins the crazy.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Okay, Mariah. So take us back to that time at the beginning. What led you to start Accelerated Automation? You touched on it just a minute ago, but maybe we can dig into a little bit more about the realization that agencies needed this level of operational help.
Yeah, so I think that I kind of always knew that the insurance, technology in general was really far behind. I came from the banking industry, working at JP Morgan Chase, who is an innovator in banking technology. I mean, they lead the world. They innovate all sorts of new things, and are constantly trying to make things easier for their customers and for the employees as well. And then I came to insurance, and I remember saying to my husband, I don't know how this industry is still afloat because everything is like 10 or 15 years older than what I was used to in the banking industry when it came to the tech. So I was constantly just dealing with what I had available to me. And I got exposed to more available InsurTech that I didn't know existed because I was a captive agent. So I wasn't really in the habit of looking for my own solutions. I was used to using what my carrier gave me, and got exposed through some independent agent channels to a great CRM, started using it for my business, and I just started sharing it all over social media. It was the light bulb for me in my agency of, oh my gosh, this is how I can scale. This is how I can stop being part of the day-to-day in the business. Because I was, quoting policies and answering questions and servicing and changing lien holders or whatever, all those things. And I wanted to run the business. I didn't want to do the day-to-day work. And I saw that as the roadmap and the path through this particular CRM. So I started sharing it because I wanted that for other business owners because I know how hard the industry is. And eventually people started just asking me to help them. Can you help me with the CRM? I bought it. I don't know how to use it. I don't know what to say. Or we built a workflow. It's not working. My staff doesn't like it. Maybe their campaigns weren't getting any responses. And I really turned them down. I mean, I had, 2 young kids. My husband worked full time. I had my insurance agency. At this time, this was my second agency. I sold my first one in Washington, and we moved our family to Idaho. So we were also living in a new state. I didn't have the time to do that, but the requests didn't stop. And then the owners and founders of the CRM platform asked me to officially help their users because they were a small startup at this point. So it was still like they were bursting at the seams to help their users as well. And so I finally just decided, well, I guess I'll try it. And I had an agent who had been asking me and was a good friend. I started working with him first as kind of a trial period. And it just snowballed from there. After I worked with a couple of really large agencies in my captive network, they just told everybody. And then I was like, oh my gosh, this is actually a business. And then I had to figure out how to make the business. So I was like, sometimes I tell agents, I was like, you guys bullied me into it. That's why I have this company. I love it. Don't get me wrong. I sold my
Right.
agency 2 years ago. This is my passion. But I didn't know that at the time.
Wow. Fantastic. Fantastic. So, what were some of the fundamental changes you saw that could be worked on and addressed, like right out of the box?
For the agencies, what I saw was that they didn't have any kind of standard operating procedures. Everybody in the business, and this seems to be true of small business in general,
Right.
there usually exists what's called like tribal knowledge, right? They all kind of know their role and they know parts of the business, but we're never really thoroughly trained in the company's like best practices. The best practices have not been captured in any way, even just from a written perspective. But going a step further, having your actual systems that you use lay out and complement the workflow that you know works best and what you need your employees to do to be successful. Insurance is a sales organization. They service their customers, of course, as well, but you grow the business through acquiring new clients.
Uh-huh.
And if you've got 5, 10, 15 producers and they're all acquiring clients in a different way, you're going to have errors and omissions issues.
Right.
They might not write quality business. You're going to have varying levels of closing ratios, different types of policies that are being written. So the biggest issue I saw really fast, and I didn't know this, I only knew it of my business, as far as like where any disorganization was. And we did document policies and procedures because I learned that from my banking career. That's what I was used to. Everything had a written procedure. And I had to make my written procedures for my business. Didn't realize that other agencies, even agencies that have been in existence for, multi-generation, been an agency for 40 years,
Yeah.
still nothing
Yeah.
documented and systemized. Everything was tribal knowledge, everyone doing things different. And no consistent place to like see the client journey, what's been happening, who's talking to this person. That's what I saw right away as I started working with other businesses.
Sure, sure. All right, fantastic. So you talked a little bit about sales. Let's dig in on that. What are the most common bottlenecks you see in the sales process before automation is implemented, and what are some of the outcomes you're finding, right away as you put them in place?
Yeah, so speed to lead is the first one, speed to contact. Insurance specifically, and this is true of most industries. There's a lot of competition because there's so many carriers and options, and so if you're shopping for insurance, you're likely getting solicited by a lot of people. So getting in touch with them right away is huge, so that they didn't reach out and then they don't hear from anybody for a few days. So making sure that that response is automated, at least initial contact. But the other really big problem that bottlenecks all agencies, and I think in general all businesses, is follow up. There is a significant lack of follow up. We know it can take up to 7 times following up with a prospect to close the business. And realistically, insurance agents follow up maybe twice. It's usually once is their follow up and they're on to the next prospect. So the business owners, and the business is putting time and money into marketing,
Yeah.
leads, all of these things. And they're just seeping these opportunities through the business. They're falling through the cracks because no one is consistently following up. Those are the two big ones for sales that makes an like immediate change in any agency.
Yeah. Sure, absolutely. What do you think the root cause of that is? Is it the new bright shiny object that comes forward, or I mean, a lead is a lead is a lead, and you got to follow up and make it happen. But what do you think really? What is the root cause of that?
So I think a part of it is how the industry has kind of always operated in that, the insurance industry has been behind on technology for a long time. Like everything is, I really believe, about 10 years behind most industries when it comes to innovation. I don't know the actual reason for that, but my theory, after spending, 11 years in the industry, is that there's always been a lot of money in insurance and the carriers haven't really been very motivated to innovate. And so that's changed now, especially in the world of AI. But the agents are also a trickle down from that. So the agents are in between the client and the carrier, and they're a small business. And for them to also invest in, automation and tech and to have the ability for them to do that, they haven't focused on it. So what they always focus on is more marketing, more leads, more opportunities. And then it's just kind of a numbers game from there that they
Right.
know, if I buy 1,000 leads, we're going to sell, 200 clients. That's what's going to happen. And so they just focus on that volume and they're missing the fact that those other 800 prospects, they could probably close another 300 or 400 of them if they had a consistent process and
Right.
had those follow-ups in place. So I think it's just been the misdirection and kind of the old way the industry has operated. It's
Right.
shifting because the agents who are making these changes are breaking records, writing a million and a half in new business premium in a month, which used to take an agency a year through these automated processes. So it's catching on, but it's going to
Wow.
take, time.
Wow. What an amazing transformation that is. What a year to a month.
Yeah.
You become known for your agency Zoom expertise. What do agencies must understand about using AZ effectively?
It all comes down to implementation. So it's a powerful tool. And I didn't come from a tech background. So I've now spent the last 6 years fully immersed in insurance technology, AI, and all of this. And Agency Zoom is a great platform, but it is no different than anything else. It only works for you if you use it and you roll it out. Just yesterday, I met with one of our clients who we helped in last year, and he wanted to see where things were at. So we were reviewing the account. His team has not opened the platform since we built it for them and they left training. And I say this every day to all of the prospects and clients I work with: the best technology in the world, the best automation, all of this, it is worth bubkiss if you don't use
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
and train your staff. And so my company, we started with the goal of like, it's so time consuming to build out a CRM, which is very true. You have to think through your workflow, build out your, copyright, the campaigns. So that was my kind of like, this is how we help you. We help you through saving you all this time, and it's all pre-proven and tested. But now we're 6 years in, 1,000 clients. And as we look back, that is helpful. But the real benefit of what we do is implementation, holding your hand, training your staff, checking their work, making sure that they're using it, because business owners seem to throw money at tech. I mean, if you're a business owner and you're listening to this, I bet if you audited your bank account, you would find 500, maybe $1,000 worth of subscriptions that you don't use anymore.
Right.
We
Right.
see this
Right.
all the time. So you
Yeah.
bought it, best of intentions, no implementation. That is
Right.
the biggest issue.
Hmm.
Or it's selective implementation, meaning like your staff members who aren't resistive to change, they'll use it, but the ones who want to dig in their heels and refuse, you let them do things their way. So it really
Right.
needs to be the business expectation and the consistency.
Right. Right. Let's stay on that just for a second because I've experienced that myself. Pretty remarkable to know that you spend all the time, money, and energy mutually with your client. They're spending time and energy there too, but then they don't open it and they don't even bother to go back to it. What
I
what's
mean,
that? What's that driver?
big
Yeah. What's
investment.
that?
This client spent $13,000 in the matter of 30 days and then spent 2 months in training and actually didn't even finish training with us. They had 12 training calls and actually only showed up for 4. And
Oh, no
then a
kidding.
year later, he's reaching out and saying, what can I need to like get this working. What should I do? And I look back and I'm like, well,
Wow.
you should have followed through. It is amazing to me. It
Yeah.
is. Business
Yeah.
owners, it is hard, man. Like the reason I used to say, they're crazy is because like, who would do this if you actually knew what you were getting into? What sane
Yeah.
person would sign
Yeah.
up for this? I mean, all the risk, everything falls on
Right.
you. And
Yeah.
most of them are spread way too thin. The
Right. Right.
agencies that really, really do a great job, and I think it's got to become the norm if for agencies that want to succeed, is you've got to have somebody who is sales and marketing minded, and you've got to have somebody who's operations minded. The biggest, best, most successful agencies I've had the privilege of working with have those two people because they are completely different mindsets, brainwave frequency, like whatever you want to
Yeah.
call
Sure.
it. They
Sure. Sure.
don't
Sure.
think the same, and you have to have both.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Fascinating. So, where does automation deliver the biggest ROI? Is it new business, retention, remarketing, internal efficiencies? Where are you seeing that biggest change?
Gosh, all of the above. I would say that it does a little bit vary depending on the agency. So there are agencies out there who, don't have a problem writing new business. Most of them are still missing opportunities to continue to
Hmm.
write more.
Hmm.
But like one of our clients right now is really struggling with retention. Their market is very
Okay.
difficult. And so for this particular agency, one of the first projects they wanted to dive into wasn't even their sales because they are growing their client base at the rate that they want. Doesn't mean it can't get better, but they're losing too many clients out the back door. So you really have to kind of
Right.
decide, is it the new business piece that we need to focus on first, or is it the
Right.
retention of clients?
Right. Right.
Both of those will have immense return. Like our clients see a 58% increase in their closing ratio when they implement automation for follow up, because again, just sending out a quote or having one phone call with somebody and then expecting them to be so motivated that they're going to follow back up and, write that business with you is naive at best, right? They're just
Sure.
not. They're
Sure.
living their lives. It's another point of resistance. They have to make changes and interact with you. So you need to be the one owning the process and following up. The same thing is very true for renewals and keeping the clients on the books. Agencies that are very reactive, especially as you think about these generations changing and who your ideal client is going to be going forward, you cannot be a reactive business. You have to be
Right.
proactive, and it has to be very easy for your client to interact with you
Hmm.
because, I'm a millennial, I'm 38, and I'm in the world of cell phones and Instant and Amazon and
Yeah.
DoorDash,
Yeah.
and if you're
Yeah.
hard to work with, you're going to get pushed aside.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's talk about differentiation and lessons learned. How do you help agencies shift from reactive operations to proactive data-driven systems? You may have touched on some of this when you were talking about the training and people not following through, but just how do you make that happen?
Yeah. I wish I could make it happen at a larger volume because what I will tell you is from in my own company, not for my clients, but finding people that can facilitate this training in a really meaningful way for our clients is extremely difficult. That's been one of our growing pains. So how we do this is really through live training because we have built courses in communities. We actually run a daily support call. So any of our, almost 1,000 clients can jump on 5 days a week and ask us questions if they need help, if they're stuck, if a team member needs some, retraining or clarification. And we'll have 20 clients a month or a day maybe join that call. And so they've got so many other things pulling them away that the dedicated training call that's on the calendar, we expect them to show up, we send reminders, the whole team is expected to be there. That's really how we implement change because it's all about human behavior. You're
Right.
trying to get your team to do their job different. And again, most agencies don't have that operations manager who is working with them, overseeing. They're all working with their clients, and so the staff doesn't have that accountability and consistency.
Sure.
So for us, like we actually reduced our product offering because we had to be able to protect that training time because it is so valuable.
Yeah, fantastic. Makes sense. So what's one automation example or project you can provide us where you delivered it and completely transformed a client's workflow? Does one stick out to you at all?
I mean, the one that we do the most consistently is definitely the sales side. I would say that most impacts one of my agencies down in Texas was a pretty early client. He's been with us for a couple, I think maybe 3 years now. And 3 years ago is when we kind of became a company. It was definitely my
Okay.
side hustle
Oh,
for
okay.
the first couple of years. So I'm 6 years in business, but we started really bringing on our team and perfecting the service 3 years ago. So he was an early adopter. And for him, he was spending so much money on internet leads. So again, it was that high volume, high volume. So his marketing cost every time he brought on a producer was really immense, thousands of dollars every single month to scale his business. And so we implemented that sales process. And for him, after having the sales process, so it helped with closing ratios initially. But what happened was he ended up, we teach to recycle leads, right? Just because somebody says no today, it doesn't mean they're going to say no in 6 months,
Right.
especially with insurance. And like any business, really, our clients' lives change. They never stay the
Right.
same. And
Right.
for us, some of those key things are, their kids getting old enough to drive, maybe having an accident, their insurance premium, going up, getting married, getting divorced, having a baby. These are all life events that happen to every single person in the world. And the insurance agents don't stay in touch with them to stay top of mind. So we actually build a recycle process where if you don't close that customer, well, you're
Yeah.
going to keep following up and you're going to keep
Sure.
reaching out, but it's automated because, again, they don't have the physical time to do it. So for this agent, he was able to cut his internet lead spend in half,
Wow.
because all of a sudden, 6 months later, he has all these leads resurfacing and they're closing business on people that they already had all the information for. So the sales cycle is faster, it connects the relationship. And most of us have the intention of following up, like at the
Right.
next renewal, but never do it. So when you have it automated, you can't fail. And then when you follow through, you've now set yourself apart as a
Yeah.
completely different type of business and a
Yeah.
different relationship. So for that agency, being able to lower his expenses without sacrificing growth.
Yeah, it's a great lesson in keeping every lead warm and, like you said, differentiating yourself in a really, significant, meaningful way. If you could give every agency owner one actionable piece of advice to improve their growth next quarter, what would it be?
Oh, just one? That's so hard.
You
Well,
can you can you can share a couple if you want.
I would say if you don't have a CRM, that is definitely step one. You're a sales organization. You can't keep track of sales on an Excel sheet or a notepad. And in the world of AI, everything needs to be in a digital format. It has to be because you're
Yeah.
going to need that digital data to overlay AI. It's just a have to. So if you are a paper agency or you have no CRM, that is 100% your step number one. For agencies that have that, I really love, and I actually talked about this yesterday in one of our groups, the digital intake process and the reduction of duplicate entry. So in our industry, filling out forms, accords, applications, supplements from these carriers, again, because the carriers, very archaic still, they want you to fill out a
Yeah.
paper document that's way
Wow.
too long. And then, they'll have an application and a supplement and an accord, and you're putting the exact same information just into different fields on three
Right.
different stacks of
Right.
documentation. It is
Right.
insanely time consuming. One of my favorite newer companies is Sembly, and
Okay.
it solves that problem. Like,
Okay.
you can have a database and you can push that information to your forms instantly. And they have some really cool quarter 1 updates coming that is going to make it even easier. So
Oh wow.
reducing all this manual duplicate typing information in different carriers and different documents, get rid of that stuff. So your team has no excuse other than to just be on the phone with your clients or be in front of them. The more you can do that, the more successful your business will be.
Oh, absolutely. Let's stay on 2026. What emerging tools or AI trends do you believe will reshape agency operations next year? Maybe you just mentioned one of them.
Yeah, agentic AI for sure. The ability for you to train AI to actually go into your systems and do work for you. Submit documents to carriers, confirm receive of the information, actually make policy changes, load quote information. There's a company that I'm still feeling out, but it is very, very exciting. One of our clients in Florida will likely implement and we'll get full view. But it is called KAI, and the ability for that system to actually be trained. You send it the information, and it will do multi-carrier quoting through rating and take all that work out. What agents have been doing how they've done that prior for an efficiency is hired virtual employees overseas at a lower wage, but that I think this is going to replace a lot of virtual employees. So
Yeah.
that would be the two that I really have my eye on and that we're talking to our clients about in the new year to consider implementing.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, Mariah, listen, this has been a fantastic conversation. I really, really appreciate you being here. Your perspective on automation, operational clarity, building systems at scale is something every leader in MarTech is going to need to know and want to hear, particularly in the insurance business. You're obviously incredibly knowledgeable and an expert in the business and an innovator. So thank you very much. For listeners who want to learn more about you and accelerated automation, where should they go?
Yeah, you can go to our website, acceleratedautomation.net. I'm also on all the social platforms. We're on YouTube as well. We're always doing InsurTech demos and things. So lots of places. And then I usually attend some conferences every year. So we're going to be at Indie Tech, we'll be at Accelerate, and a couple of others as they get further into the end of the year. ITC, which is a huge one for our industry. So that's how you can find me.
Fantastic. Well, thanks again for joining us. And thank you to everyone listening. This is the Momentum Playbook, where we help leaders build systems, break bottlenecks, and create unstoppable momentum. See you on the next episode. And Mariah, thank you again.
Thank you.